Early this year, I set off again. Same region, same places, but this time, I was filming it. What I didn't realize then was that 2025 wasn't going to be about where I went. It was about discovering why the journey itself wasn't giving me what it used to. This is a look back at that year, where I went, what it felt like, and what slowly became clear along the way. This was the first trip of the year, and the first time Caveman Passport really began. I didn't set out with a big plan. I just felt the familiar pull back to Asia. Thailand was the comfort stop. The Philippines was where I thought something different might still exist. I arrived in Bangkok first, not because it was the destination, but because it was familiar. I'd been here recently, and I knew it well enough to ease myself back in. It was meant to be a short stop, just a few days to acclimatize. In reality, I stayed longer. The jet lag hit harder than I expected, and I ended up spending a week near Nana at a hotel full of transient characters, people passing through, all in different states of waiting. During the day, Benjakiti Park became my escape, a place to walk, reset, and put some distance between myself and the streets outside. At the time, it felt practical, comfortable, a soft landing before moving on. Looking back, Bangkok wasn't about curiosity anymore. It was about easing back into a rhythm I already knew. I arrived in Manila expecting something different, something that might still feel a little untouched. I stayed around Malate first, an area built for a much earlier version of this kind of travel. At night, it felt like the place had missed a turning. Venues geared to a bygone crowd, prices high, and very little energy left in the room. During the day, I walked a lot, along the bay, through quieter streets, trying to find some balance against the heat. At the time, it felt disappointing, but I still had momentum. I wasn't ready to call it yet. I moved on to Makati, cleaner, brighter, more modern. On the surface, it looked like an upgrade. Better streets, more neon, a different atmosphere at night. But it quickly became hit and miss. One evening felt promising. The next felt flat. Prices climbed and consistency disappeared. The days were comfortable enough. A decent hotel, a central base. But after a few days, there was nothing left to do but fill time. Looking back, Manila wasn't failing for lack of options. It was failing in the same way Thailand had. The places were still there. The pull just wasn't. And that's when I started thinking about where to go next. I was already close to Angeles, and it felt wrong to skip it and fly straight on to Cebu. I told myself it was practical. Head up there, take a look, and if I wanted to move on, Clark Airport was right there. But really, Angeles felt like a test. It had been about 15 years since I'd last been there, and the changes were obvious straight away. COVID had hit the place hard. Large parts of Fields Avenue were gone, and what remained felt compressed, more controlled. Walking Street was still there, but much of it was now Korean-owned, pushier, more expensive, and lacking the atmosphere I remembered. During the day, there was nowhere to reset, no parks, no quiet routes to walk, just heat, traffic, and noise. The only escape was empty rooftop bars looking out toward Mount Arayat in the distance. Brief moments of space. Looking back, Angeles told me enough. After 4 days, I didn't need to return. Subic felt like the easy option. Close to Angeles, just a bus ride away. On paper, it made sense. Bars, beaches, something a bit more relaxed. But once I arrived, the place felt quiet, almost empty. Very few tourists. The locals noticed straight away, especially around the beach. Friendly at first, but that shifted quickly when it was clear no money was coming. Accommodation was basic, service was poor, and the food was hit and miss, with only a few places worth returning to. I fell into a routine. Morning walks along the beach until the path simply ran out. By night, it was noisy traffic on the main drag and a small cluster of bars. Nothing remarkable, nothing that really pulled me in. There was beautiful scenery around Subic Bay, mountains, coastline, the kind of place that could have worked differently. But the heat was heavy, and the energy just wasn't there. After 5 days, I'd seen enough. By then, I was running out of steam for the Philippines. I came back to Manila with the idea of recharging, just a few days to reset. Then maybe on to Cebu or Puerto Galera. Both felt possible on paper, but by then I could feel it catching up with me. I slowed right down, took a packed boat down the Pasig River to Chinatown, and picked up a heavy cold along the way. For a few days, I was stuck, trying to shake it off, waiting for energy to come back. It didn't. That was the point where the burnout really landed. Cebu started to feel like more of the same. Another beach, another bar strip, another hotel. Puerto Galera felt no different. Looking back, it wasn't about the places anymore. I'd already seen how this trip was going to end, so instead of pushing on, I booked a flight back to Bangkok. Coming back to Bangkok felt like slipping into something known. Better accommodation, better food, more going on, and closer to home. I booked back into the Thai suites. Decent rooms, full of characters passing through, but perfectly placed, right next to the park, and close enough to the action on Soi 4. During the day, I walked the park, or escaped the heat in my room, trying to kickstart the YouTube channel, trying to find some momentum again. In the evenings, I circled the Sukhumvit bar areas, the same routes I'd walked for nearly 20 years. That's when it hit me. We don't always come back to Bangkok because of what it offers now. We come back because of memory. After a week, I'd had enough. By then, I couldn't wait to get home. By the end of that first trip, the pattern was already clear. Even if I didn't want to admit it yet, I'd changed countries, changed cities, even changed the order of things. But the experience kept landing the same way. At the time, I thought maybe I just needed a different approach, a slower pace, longer stays. So I went home, not finished with the idea of travel, but quietly aware that something wasn't working anymore. This was the second trip of the year. Same region, but a different approach. This time, I wasn't chasing novelty. I slowed everything down. Longer stays, more routine. The idea was simple. If the journey wasn't working at speed, maybe it would work at rest. I started the second trip back in Bangkok, Thonglor. The idea this time was different. I wanted to slow everything down. Stay put, live more normally, base myself in a condo, something closer to home. On paper, it made sense. But it didn't take long to realize it wasn't anything like home at all. A small, sealed space with a kitchenette bolted on the side. Functional, but empty. During the day, I filled time. Short walks, errands, nearby parks. And at night, despite being further away, I kept getting pulled back toward the same places. Nana, Soy Cowboy, Pat Pong, not out of excitement, but out of habit. Looking back, slow travel didn't change the experience. It just removed the distractions. The pull was still there, and so was the waiting. Pattaya was pre-booked this time. A condo at Ayutthaya 6. Cheap in low season and right in the middle of everything. I was locked in. On the surface, it looked much the same as it always had. Same streets, same signs, same layout. But it didn't feel the same anymore. The days settled into a routine. Beach walks in the morning. Then long hours back in the condo, waiting for the heat to drop. In the evenings, I was pulled out again, circling the same areas, the same streets, as if on autopilot. There were a few familiar faces, people I'd met on previous trips, moments that felt comfortable, almost reassuring. But underneath that, something had shifted. The demographics had changed. The atmosphere felt different. I realized I wasn't responding to what Pattaya was now. I was responding to memory. After a week, I didn't want to extend the stay. That told me enough. After Pattaya, I tried something different. I headed to Lopburi and Ayutthaya. Ancient cities, temples, history. The idea was simple. Step away from the adult zones and reconnect with things I actually care about. Walking, photography, old places. And in parts, it worked. The temples were impressive, atmospheric, easy to appreciate, but the heat was relentless. By midday, exploring became a chore, not a pleasure. The crowds were different too. Families, couples, coach tours moving from site to site, more intense in a different way. I ticked the temples off the list, but I knew I wouldn't be coming back. And then, in Ayutthaya, almost without thinking, I drifted back toward the seedy edge of town. That was the moment it clicked. Looking back, changing scenery wasn't enough. The same pull followed me there too. The final stop was back in Bangkok, a small condo tucked away off Soi 20. Cheap, available, easy. By then, the pattern was familiar. The enthusiasm for slow travel had gone. 3 weeks, not 3 months. The days blurred, short walks, time indoors, waiting. I knew I wasn't flying onto Cebu or anywhere else. In the evenings, I still went out. But it felt purely transactional now, predictable, repeatable. Bangkok used to feel full of mystery, possibility, unexpected turns. This time, everything felt known in advance. That's when I decided to head home. Looking back now, 2025 wasn't really about travel. It was about stripping it back and seeing what was left underneath. Across 2 trips, different approaches, different places, the pattern stayed the same. Most of the things I was chasing through travel could already be built at home. Routine, comfort, purpose. What remained was simpler and harder to admit. Lust was the one desire that still pulled me away. Not culture, not discovery, not escape, just that. Along the way, something else happened. Caveman Passport crossed the monetisation line, not through chasing excess, but through telling the truth about leaving and about not belonging anymore. That mattered. It meant I didn't need to keep going just to justify the channel. So for now, the journey changes. Thailand isn't finished, but living there is. If I return, it will be as a vacation, not as a way of life. And that's where 2025 ends.